Hello everyone, I'm Charlie and welcome to episode 10, part 1 of Charlie's Reviews. Now, if you watched my last video, you know that this is the debut of a new format for Charlie's Reviews. Um, if you've been watching me for a while now, or if you are a new subscriber, you may have noticed that I have the habit of making long videos with quick reviews. My that was my attempt to try to do really fast quick reviews and try to make those videos short, which they didn't really work out that way. So with Charlie's Reviews, I felt I had a little more freedom in doing it, in doing the reviews, so I could take the time to do them and not really uh, put a limit to myself in those reviews. Hence, with quick reviews, I had to make quick reviews, which never really worked out. But still the videos were long, and after the incident with the happening in August, with only getting half my books uh, for the first week of August, and having to split that video into two parts, I thought I think I should do split the videos at least into in two parts and just review half the books in one part and the other half in the second part. I mean, because if I actually went in and reviewed this bunch of books, well, this is a back issue, but this bunch of books in one video, I mean, it would take me maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes at the most to get through all of them. So I will only be reviewing in this part three books, and in the second part the rest of them. So let's get on with the reviews. So for this review, I'll start with Supergirl Features and number one. Oh, so I've noticed in certain books from the Futures End line event, uh, times, whatever, that some of these issues sort of bring things full circle. Uh, the Green Arrow one did, in a sense, it brought certain things in full circle to full circle, but it does, affect does have an effect, does affect and has an effect on the main story of that features and weekly. This one doesn't at all, but it does bring a certain storyline full circle. Uh, as you can see, Supergirl becomes a cyborg Supergirl, and this issue starts, of course, 5 years in the future. Uh, and we see Supergirl teaming up with the cyborg Superman. She doesn't know that Cyborg is her father, uh, and so we see them return to Earth after being years out in space, looking for the perfect species uh, to convert into cyborgs and try to recreate Krypton. So they return to Earth trying to find the genetic purity that they need. Uh, and thus they're looking for Neo Sapiens. Now, Neo Sapiens was a term actually that was used by Grant Morrison back in his run, in Action Comics to describe Captain Comet. Now, Captain Comet is a really old DC character, a superhero before the Flash returned in 1956. The Captain Comet, you know, was a mutant, to say it directly. He was a mutant, you know, after 1951, years before the X-Men. Uh, so he didn't have some sort of superpowers, and was pretty much a superhero if you think about it. But into this whole trend of the atomic age, this whole sci-fi thing brought back quite recently, and also in the in Action Comics. Anyways, so they come back to Earth. Veritas detects their return uh, and sends out a call to a group called the Wanderers. Now, the Wanderers is a reference to a group of heroes from the 30th century. This is before Crisis and Infinite Earths, maybe a little bit reused, post-crisis. That are sort of linked to the Legion, but they're their own thing. So the Wanderers are brought here again, as a future group that Supergirl will join, and it's headed by Captain Comet. Now, the thing that I confused me in this whole story is how young Captain Comet looks. Uh, because he's supposed to be older than Superman. He looks really young, around Kara's age. That's an aside. Anyway, so the Wanderers come. Supergirl fights Cyborg. Once Captain Comet, using his telepathy, breaks the mind control. Uh, so she ends up fighting the Cyborg. He escapes. She tears her Cyborg arm off because Cyborg's woman had control of that arm, and they're all just glad that she's here. And Captain Comet is her love interest, and in the end, Kara says, I'm the same person you fell in love with. Look at me. And Captain Comet says, I never really liked you for the way you looked. That was just, I guess, a plus, but whatever. But for who she was and who she is. But yeah, that's the thing. Captain Comet is supposed to be older. He seemed to be active before Superman was in Smallville. Um, he actually left for space, way back, in those issues of Action Comics. But here, he looks, pretty young. He should be quite a bit older than that. So that's the only thing that confused me. It was a nice story. This issue was a nice story. He sort of picked up some threads from the original Cyborg story in the Supergirl book as well. So just a nice Supergirl story. It's an entertaining story. It doesn't really give us much more than that, and I'm fine with it. As not everything has to be a big, loud, major story. Then I will not stop Wonder Woman and Superman Wonder Woman. These two books go together. So this will be a much quicker review because it just does one big story. So in this issue, Wonder Woman, we find Wonder Woman is in a continuing war with someone called Nemesis. It's basically the avatar of opposing sides, the Nemesis, and she's fighting them with all these, uh, you know, dead soldiers that were brought back by Hades. So pretty much, they're just fighting, 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 um, and pretty much the story ends with Superman showing up at the end. And so it picks up in this issue where we learn that what happened here wasn't even real. It was just an illusion created by Nemesis, and that Wonder Woman had been trapped in Tartarus for I don't know for how many years or for how long, but she's been trapped in Tartarus for a very long time. So Superman, which by the way is not the Superman from Future's End, but from 4 years earlier, brought by the Amazons through magic to help Wonder Woman escape. So they escape Tartarus, they go to, Olympus to see how things are going, pretty much Nemesis has taken, the whole world. And so finally, when Wonder Woman is wondering why Nemesis was able to overwhelm her and defeat her so easily, since Nemesis, the opposing sides of war, should be beneath Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman controls that part. At first, she thought it was that she tried to change war from within, but then she figures it out. She remembers that the first thing that Nemesis did was to kill the goddess of peace. So, and thus recreating the world into one of continuous war. So Wonder Woman decides to go into the mausoleum where the rest, the energy, what was it specific term? She enters, the tomb of the goddess of peace, and we have a nice little reflection from Wonder Woman as she walks in, where she really talks about one, as a warrior. I mean, who better than to be the god of war than a warrior? But she starts reflecting and saying, as a warrior, it's great it's a good thing to fight for something you believe in, while war is continuing its aggressiveness, and I'll actually read the word because I think they say it better here, which is which I think encapsulates who Wonder Woman really is. So here she says, okay, so she says, give me time to convince Irene's spirit what I already know. I should never have been war. War is aggression, war is base, war is cruel. War is the worst of humanity. There is a difference between fighting for what you believe, being a warrior, and war. War is death. I love life. I love peace. So as she's entering the tomb and trying to convince the spirit of the goddess of peace, with those words, when she comes out of that, we get this really great panel where she now Wonder Woman has become the goddess of peace. So both of these issues were written by Charles Soule, and I think Soule really got to the very heart of Wonder Woman, as you know, she is a warrior, and it's great. When you fight as a warrior, you fight uh, for something, while war is just a senseless thing. And Wonder Woman is, someone who loves life and who embraces peace and is completely opposite of what war should be. So, like once again, these two issues sort of bring full circle what we've gotten in the Wonder Woman book. From warrior to god of war to god of peace. So, really great issues. Again, these don't necessarily, tie into the big event. So that's it for part one. And I won't be signing off. I'll just say see you in part two.